Hi.
Hello, everybody, once again. All you wonderful people. Back at it again with another episode of the Fantasy Simpletons Fantasy Football Show. I am your host, Kyle Fridland. Join with me, as always, is my brother and co-host, Jacob Fridland. Woo!
Yeah.
We are here. We finally made it. This is the last episode, the last little series of our division breakdowns. We have gone through 7 of 8, and now we are at the home stretch.
Yep.
We're getting it ready, getting it done.
NFC West, baby. Gotta represent.
Woo! I don't have any merch on specifically, but I got this.
Got the colors, man.
I got the colors, man. I got the button up.
That was my shirt when I was in.
Yeah, it's a hand-me-down.
Grade, I think.
It's a nice shirt. And it's amazing that none of us have seemed to have grown after 7th grade.
I thought I did, but I'm surprised that you fit that. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah. We've all been plus 6 feet for about 15 years of our lives.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. But we are talking about the final division. This is the NFC West. And we are going to start not with our team. Not yet. We're going to save them for the very end because I assume that we're going to have a lot of thoughts. We're actually going to start off with some division rivals in the Los Angeles Rams. And with this team, I think there's one notable addition that I want to talk about first, and that's Davante Adams. Davante Adams, don't let the age fool you. That's what I want to get over right now. There was a lot of drama last season with the Raiders, as there was during his whole tenure there. Then he got traded, had to spend a few weeks getting his chemistry back with Aaron Rodgers. But after he did, he proved he's still that guy. Yeah. He is still a beast. He was performing at a top 10 level. And now he's going to be the new 1B to Puka Nacua on this offense. And I think he's going to be a very good wide receiver too. I think he's going to be a top 20 wide receiver again, especially since Matt Stafford is well known, like other older quarterbacks like Aaron Rodgers. He finds a couple guys he really likes, and that's just who he targets.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think Davante's going to step right in there and be that deep threat guy that he's known to be. You know, and it's just that simple. I think it's tough because with Puka, you know, it's that conversation of will he be the number one? Davante, like who will be the number one? Davante or Puka?
I think it's still going to be Puka.
I think it's clear that it's going to be Puka, yeah.
Yeah.
I just think that that's foreign to Davante because he's always been that guy, so it might take some getting used to. You know, I've been intrigued how like camp is going with that type of dynamic. But you know, they'll play different roles, I'm assuming. So it should be interesting.
I think this is going to be one of those few situations where both receivers are going to be very, very good.
Yeah.
I think with Matthew Stafford as the quarterback, roughly 80% of probably who he's going to throw to is going to be Puka Nacua and Davante Adams. So if Puka's covered, if Puka's not the right guy to go after, he's going to look at Adams next.
Yeah, and I think Adams is stepping into that role that Demarcus Robinson had last year. You remember him on the Rams?
Yeah, he's actually going to be on. He moved over in the division, and we'll talk about him a bit more in just a second. But
I think he's going to fill that role. You know, he was a deep threat and a solid clutch player.
Yeah,
and I thought, you know, not a startable guy by any means, but in terms of just for the team, And so now that he's not here, I'm sure Devontae will fill in for that. And then outside of those two guys, there's, a couple smaller names that are competing for the wide receiver 3 spot.
Jordan
And
Whittington seems like the
Jordan
standout
Whittington,
right now.
yep, rookie last year, and he had a lot of hype in camp, but just never really produced too much because of the depth chart. But he might have a chance. And Tutu Atwell, tried and true wide receiver 3 that they've
he'll
had for a while.
he'll have his little moments in games where it's like, oh my
Yeah,
gosh, is he gonna do something? No,
yeah,
don't get excited about those little spurts.
speedy little guy. Yeah, we'll see, but definitely
He'll
Puka's the guy you want. I'd say Devontae could be a fun addition to have, as a wide receiver 2 flex spot, maybe. What do you think?
Yeah, I think he's gonna fill right in as a wide receiver too. I think what this duo should do is sort of meet on what the expectation was last season for Puka and Cooper Kupp when they were together. That it just didn't really fully happen, and there are sort
Right.
of reasons behind that. And we'll
Yeah.
get more into Cooper Kupp in just a second and why that didn't fully work out. But
Mhm.
I think this might be the more realized version of what was supposed to be last season.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. I agree.
As far as the tight ends as well, maybe they might use Tyler Higbee as their like third wideout. I know most of last season he was hurt, so we didn't get a lot of chances to really see what he could do.
Mhm.
Not in his career, he's had a few seasons, but last season, he probably would have been a very safe tight end option to get some little chunk plays here and there. With Terrence Ferguson, I guess my main thought with him right now is just he's for the future.
Mhm.
Everything that we're hearing in camp right now is he's great, but this is going to be his team come next season or into the upcoming years. And I'm really into him as a stash for that
Yeah.
reason.
Yeah, same here. There's a handful of these, decent wide receivers that came out of this year's rookie class, and yeah, he could be a good stash, especially with that, with, how old Tyler Higbee is, and his injury
And
status
Devontae
over the
too.
years. Sure. Yeah, Devontae too. So he could be good. He's one to watch. Pretty good player out of Oregon. So
Yeah. Just
mhm.
don't buy into him thinking like this season he's gonna like go off. From all accounts, it doesn't
Yeah,
seem like that's gonna happen yet.
yeah, mhm.
I want to talk about Kyron Williams though.
Yeah,
Maybe because I'm a bit biased, I really bought into him last season. I had him on a majority of my teams, but I think he's sort of becoming a forgotten player, that he's underrated. I think he's a lot better than what people are putting him in, what people are talking about him right now. If I were to
mhm.
look on where he's going, he's currently the 10th running back being taken in drafts. So you could probably find him in like the third round and some places even the fourth round. I think that's a great value for a guy that, as long as he's healthy, he's going to get the rock.
Yeah, yeah, I'm with you. He's a great asset to have. Um, I'm a big fan of Kyron, and I do think he's underrated. You know,
Yeah.
um, because he he, I mean, but like when he came into the role and he kind of just assumed it. You know, because he wasn't really competition for at the time when he stepped in was who's that? I'm blanking on his name.
Oh, it was
Today.
Was it Cam Akers?
Yes, Cam
There we
Akers.
go.
So, he took over and it looks like um there's been no looking back. The team likes him, McVay likes him. Um and yeah, I think he's a fine player. And it doesn't look like the guys that they've drafted. They drafted someone last year, Blake Corum. Um he hasn't really done anything. And they actually did draft someone this year too, a later round pick, and Jarquez Hunter,
Yeah.
gaining a little bit of hype. But yeah, I don't see why Kyron wouldn't do what he's been doing, which is just producing and being their number one guy.
The team really trusts him. And if we're
Mhm.
talking about Dynasty real quick, for anybody that's worried that he hasn't had a contract extension yet, he's going into the final year of his deal. I'd be optimistic. This is a team that's well known to like pay their good players. They have a pretty good track record of being loyal to who performs well for them. And there are a lot of reports saying that a deal is going to get done pretty soon.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't worry about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's been in the talks.
Yeah. And then Matthew Stafford is, I mean, he's Matthew Stafford.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to be a pretty low end targeted quarterback in fantasy. I wouldn't say he's going to be a difference maker by any means. I would say just pay attention because there are times the last couple years where Matthew Stafford can get into a bit of a zone and he could be a very consistent option. So if you're ever in need of like a spot for the week, if you just need somebody just to start for a couple weeks, if you're having injury concerns, he could be a good guy to watch out for on the waiver wire that a lot of people discredit because of his age.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's been the ongoing thing for him every offseason. It's like, well, he's older, he may not be the guy this year. And, he
He's
always
old.
seems to prove people wrong. So yeah, I think with the wide receiver core they got going, could be a nice year for him again. I don't see why not,
This feels like a business as usual type of team for Sean
Yeah.
McVay.
Mhm.
They're going to be a hard team to face. Expect them to be probably a good shot at a playoff contender.
Yeah. Great defense.
Yeah,
Um,
very good draft for a team that spent like 7 years not drafting anybody. They're very good at drafting when they do.
yes.
So I have trust that they're going to do well. Moving on next is another former powerhouse, at least at this point, is the San Francisco 49ers. The first thing I want to talk about is the wide receiver room. It's a mess. It's an absolute mess of injuries and different situations right now.
Mhm.
If we can get into it, Deebo Samuel's gone. Brandon Ayuk is still recovering from an ACL tear that was a very bad tear. It was like also MCL and other knee damage. It's going to
Mhm.
keep him out for a decent chunk of the season. Undetermined how long exactly, but maybe like looks like anywhere from 4 to 8, possibly more games. He's put on the PUP list.
Mhm.
Ricky Pearsall is dealing with a hamstring injury. Demarcus Robinson, who we talked about earlier, left the Rams, is currently serving a 4-game suspension to start the year.
Mhm.
And then you have Juwan Jennings, who, I mean, what's happening with the Juwan Jennings situation, Jake?
Yeah, I mean it's an interesting situation to talk about,
It's
he says that he's having some calf problems, and uh that seems to be what he's told coaching. And you know um so Shannon, but then also there's his contract extension is in talks, right?
yeah,
And things are up in the air with that. So people are kind of thinking that it might be just kind of a tactic to kind of hold off a little bit in training camp, um, so he could maybe get paid. But I don't know. It's an interesting, yeah. It's not really like there's no real evidence that his calf is, I guess,
It's all word from
concerning.
coaches. It's all word from
Yeah.
just like, we just have to take face value that it's a calf injury.
The timing of it is just interesting. And you know, there's so many like contract negotiation tactics that players have been taking
Yeah.
in recent years. It wouldn't be
A shock.
very much of a shock. Yeah, exactly. To think that that's the case, but you never know. I think he's had injuries in the past, so could be a thing. Anyways, I digress.
It is a complete. You can say whatever you want on it. It can really go either way. To me, it just feels more like a strategical ploy. A very well timed one. This feels like a guy that looked at the situation he was in, realized this team is lacking in a lot of receiver depth due to injuries. And I think he's using a lot of leverage and a power play to try to get the extension he wants. Because he's like, oh, well, if you don't want to extend me, that's fine. Have fun putting Robbie Chosen out there as your starting receiver. I don't know, man. I'm just pay me my money is what he wants. He wants the money, and and whether this injury is real or not, if it is real, he's still using it to his benefit.
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll
We'll have to see.
He's a 28-year-old guy. He's produced for the team. I don't see why they wouldn't pay him. Unless they were hoping to draft someone next year. I don't know.
And honestly,
it's
this whole
TBD.
situation is frustrating too. You know what's frustrating about it is that he's really good.
Yeah, he's been great for the team.
I feel like everybody's sort of forgotten last season that he just became like the number one receiver. That he was like, outside of George Kittle, Brock Purdy's most trusted receiving threat. And he was consistently producing after all the others were getting injured.
Yeah.
And even looking at him of where he's going in drafts, he's being taken as the 45th receiver in drafts. Like, he is surprising. There's a real steal there. If he was a top 20 receiver last year. He looked like one, he produced like one. It could be a massive steal if they try to figure this out, or if he just comes into camp. But as far from that, Brandon Ayuk, if you want to take the risk, you can take the risk on him. He kind of hasn't looked the same. Literally the moment he got signed. Because if we're talking about players that hold out, Brandon Ayuk had an infamous holdout last season that was messy, that was awful. It seemed like he had wanted nothing to do with the team. But then he also didn't want to get traded for various reasons. Was it money? Who knows? Was it the destination? Who knows? And out of all that, the Niners decided for some reason to pay him. And it has not paid them any dividends at all.
Yeah, he just doesn't look that good. He was not producing on the level that he was right previous to the extension. And it's weird. It's weird because he should be good.
He should be.
He should be the wide receiver one over Jennings. Let's be real.
Yeah. But he didn't. He couldn't do it.
Yeah, he just didn't. And it's strange, but we'll see. I haven't heard a lot of buzz about him this offseason either. In terms of performance. So
he's coming in. He's going to miss a lot of games. And when he does come in, he's not going to be 100%. Like, it was a pretty bad injury that he got. So if you're willing to take the risk on him way late in a draft, you're welcome to do so. But for me, I'm staying away.
Yeah, same. Which brings us to Ricky Pearsall.
Ricky, well, so far, even though he has a hamstring injury, it's this offseason's going a little better than his last offseason.
Yeah.
Considering he, doesn't have a bullet in his chest. But I mean, one of the funniest moments I've seen in fantasy in a long time is when we have a text chat open up in our friend league, and someone's just like, "Dude, my player just got shot."
No, for real.
No,
It's
for
like,
real.
and how does that happen to Ricky and Tankdale
And to Brian
like,
Robinson,
and Brian Robinson? Yeah, you're right.
he was the OG to happen
You're
to
right.
him.
It's
The
so,
OG shot at player.
it's like, man, where are these millionaires hanging out? Okay, to get shot. Like, are
Hey
they?
man,
I don't know.
well, he's in San
Gotcha.
Francisco.
That's true.
That
Yeah, you're
San
right.
Francisco is not the safest place on the planet Earth.
Mhm.
I know there's a lot of hype around him coming into this season, mostly because of where he was drafted last year. And you look at him on tape and you see it, but he hardly got any opportunities last season. So a lot of it is just more speculative right now.
Mhm.
And I just don't want to attach myself to the hype train yet because I
Yeah.
don't know what to expect.
Yeah, I get that. On the flip side, I think it's interesting to want to take a chance on him. I
Mm.
mean, he's an interesting prospect just because of his draft capital, being drafted end of the first round last year. Not really seeing what he's done, and with the injuries of the other guys, he could step in and become the clear one. It's kind of uncertain, but he's you know he's got big play potential. Um, but yeah, you'd definitely be taking a risk. But I like where he's at. I think you could get him kind of lower.
Yeah.
And for the value, I think he's a fine guy to take a chance on.
Also, here's a little tip for anybody going into fantasy that I've learned over just a number of years being a part of this great fantasy football thing we got going on. Monitor hamstring injuries. Hamstring injuries can be very crappy to deal with if you've got a player with them.
Mhm.
They can extend
Yeah.
long into the season. They can look like they're starting to go away, and then all of a sudden they'll re-aggravate and get worse. And Ricky Pearsall currently has a hamstring injury. So that does scare me a little bit as someone who's seen that a lot over the years. So that's worth monitoring.
Yeah, very true.
But there's a lot of question marks with all these different receivers outside of one man. One man, George Kittle. Be prepared. He's going to get targeted a lot.
Mhm.
If we're going into this situation of week 1 where most of these receivers are gone, George Kittle's going to get as many targets as humanly possible.
Yeah. Yeah, if you want to talk about Mr. Consistency, I
Oh
feel like
yeah,
that's George Kittle, bro.
he's so good.
He's a top tight end, I think going into the season. Um, so I I would definitely draft George Kittle if the circumstances were right.
Yeah.
Um, he's got it all. Yeah, definitely in this receiving room too, knowing that some of these guys, might not step up. He's a great veteran to have.
Yeah, beautiful. And if you're the type of guy that likes using or likes having a top tight end on his fantasy football team, but if the draft price of say like a Brock Bowers or a Trey McBride
Mhm.
scares you, go get George Kittle. Go get George Kittle because this guy is not going to be drafted as high as them.
Oh
But
yeah,
with this
yeah,
situation, he's got the potential to be just on their level.
yeah.
Like he could be a major steal in the draft here. At least I think personally.
Oh
Uh
yeah, yeah.
and then you go into Brock Purdy, the guy throwing the ball here, I'm concerned a little bit. Usually Brock Purdy is a pretty consistent type of quarterback, but all these different injury-filled receivers,
Mhm.
And the comeback of Christian McCaffrey, now hopefully that he's fully healthy, I think that Brock Purdy's going to take a bit of a step back in the early point of the season.
Yeah, I can see that. But I like Christian's pass catching ability
Okay, yeah.
more than the rest of the room. So I think, but yeah, I think in terms of like big playability, you hand the ball to Christian and he's gonna get a touchdown, and they might not need Brock to throw it down to get that yardage as much as he did. So I could see both sides to the coin. Um but yeah, I it is tough. I do like how consistent Brock usually is.
Yeah.
Will he stay that way? I don't know. Hopefully the wide receiver room steps up. See, this team is just one of those teams that you just don't really bet against. In my opinion, they're always and it's because you got Mike Shanahan, I think he just always does so good
Yeah, he's as good
with
of an
his team.
offensive mind as you can find.
Yeah, so I feel like they're gonna make it work, and Brock's gonna be a fine quarterback. He's definitely a guy that you could probably draft lower just because of the concerns on
I
the team.
think I think it might depend league to league. Right now, he's currently going at QB 12.
Okay,
And if that's the case, I'd prefer to take guys around him like Dak Prescott or Justin Herbert.
I agree. Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah,
But, maybe as the receivers get healthier, we'll see going into the season.
it's true.
But we were talking about Christian McCaffrey earlier. I think it's fair to bring him up right now. Injuries completely killed him last year.
Mm.
Uh, if you drafted him, you probably lost. He was the number one draft pick for a lot of people. But hopefully he's coming in this season fully healthy. All the problems are remedied. They are using him on a bit of a limited practice schedule right now, but it seems to be more because they want to keep him healthy going into the season. But Isaac Guerendo is on this list. I put him here specifically because of Christian McCaffrey's injury history,
Yeah,
because he seems like the next guy up. And usually with Kyle Shanahan, whoever the running back two is, it doesn't matter who they put in at running back, they'll usually produce.
yeah. So yeah, exactly. And he showed out last year, because of the injuries that happened in the team. He needed to step up, and Garendo was good, man. I think they got rid of Jordan Mason, who was ahead of Grendo on this list, is now on the Vikings. They got rid of him because they didn't need him because Garendo
Yeah,
is great. So I think, yeah, this is like if you draft Christian McCaffrey, draft Isaac Garendo. I think
you
it's
kind of
one of
need
those
to.
scenarios that you kind of have to like. You got to look at the guys that have, especially the running backs. Um, look at them and their injury history. Um, and Christian McCaffrey's like at one of the top of the lists in terms of injuries over the year that he's had.
Yeah.
Where backups have needed to fill in. So yeah, Garendo's a great addition. Very speedy. Um, just looked great when he played last year. So I mean, a great handcuff to have. And even if you don't have Christian, like, you could have a sneaky bench pickup with Garendo.
Yeah.
So
See, I like that. Underrated note. Always try to pick up handicaps or handcuffs of other people's star players
yes. And then
because
and then it's leverage,
it's
because
leverage.
you can they may not be worth anything at the start of the season, but one thing happens, one slip up or slight injury, and you're like, you could get a bag, from the person who has the um the
Who's got the
RB1,
star? Yeah.
and or you could just take a chance and be like, you know what, I'm gonna hold this guy.
Look at Jordan Mason last year.
Yeah.
Dude, when he played, he did wonders for me.
Mm-hmm.
As far as Christian McCaffrey, he'll keep top 5 value. If he stays healthy, don't be concerned about age, don't be concerned about injury history. I think he'll be fine.
Yeah, I agree. That's the hope.
Yeah, and then we move on here to the Arizona Cardinals, a team with a lot of interesting pieces on all sides of the football.
Mm-hmm.
I want to talk about Kyler Murray first specifically.
Baby legs, Murray.
Baby legs. I like that. I like that as a nickname. Baby legs Murray. This is his 7th season as a starting quarterback. We've seen the highs, we've seen the lows. Is there still more to see from Kyler Murray, or is this just kind of what he is? That sort of like bottom half of the top 10. It can sort of be like between quarterback 7 to 12-ish range.
I think the hype is there every year,
Yeah.
He's one of those players that had so much potential coming out of college, and it's just hard to come to the realization that he might be just a fine QB, nothing like super special, but it's just that what if with him, man. I think because he's a fine rushing threat, and he's a good passer. So I don't know, man. It's tough, and it's one of those things that I think I've mentioned this before on another episode, but like it could be the team, Is it Tyler or is it the team? Like,
you could argue both ways.
yeah.
But you could also argue that Kyler is not necessarily like elevating the team to new heights.
No, yes. And I would say that's fair to assume.
Yeah.
I personally am not very in on him. I think there's plenty of other options that
I agree.
would get you more consistent production, and I don't know. It's interesting though, because one thing that could really elevate him is Marvin Harrison Jr. and them actually utilizing him to his full potential could elevate Kyler Murray, but we have to see that. It did not happen last year. Okay.
Yeah.
Marvin had a full season to represent himself, and what happened? Like,
yeah, we can slide straight into the Marvin Harrison talk right now.
Yeah.
Possibly the most hyped up rookie wide receiver in draft history, as far as at least how high he was getting drafted. You drafted him not thinking of like, oh, he's got a lot of potential. You drafted him thinking he was going to be the guy right out of the gate. Thinking, oh, you have a top 10 wide receiver. You have a game changer of a talent. And what we realistically got was a decent rookie season, but not what you would have wanted as a fantasy player. And I think that's on the community a little bit. I think we overhyped him to a bit of an extent.
Yeah.
And that it should have been tapered off a little bit. And now we're going into this season, and I think the expectations are a little bit more understandable and reasonable. Currently going at wide receiver 17 around names like Terry McLaurin, Mike Evans, Garrett Wilson.
Yep. And I mean, look at the wide receiver room, right?
Yeah.
Like
it's his room.
It's his room, and it's Trey McBride's room.
Yeah.
Under them it is nothing special. When you got Zay Jones as wide receiver 3, and I'm not knocking Zay Jones, man. I'm not knocking him,
Hey, he can
but I
make some
mean,
plays, man.
he makes plays, but I mean, that dude's been on a bunch of different teams. I think that just speaks to the player that he is. He's like, I don't know. Their room is just not very stacked. So the potential is there in Marvin, and this offseason he's put on weight. Okay. It's the
Oh,
classic
the
the
classic trope.
classic trope of the sophomore season.
He does look big, though.
He does look, dude, he looks nice.
He looks
He's looking,
he's a pretty
a
good
lot
looking
bigger than he
man.
was, for sure. I don't know how many pounds he put on, but um yeah, so I think that he'll take that next step. Usually, like statistically, that's what wide receivers do. Coming in their sophomore years, they outperform their rookie years. Aside from the exceptions like Puka Nacua and guys like that, but
Yeah.
still, that's generally the case for wide receivers.
I think he's worth taking a risk on to see if he can take that next step.
Mhm.
But I'll tell you what the biggest issue with Marvin Harrison is right now. He might be the number one wide receiver. He's not the number one weapon. He's not the number one weapon. It is unquestionably Trey McBride.
Yeah. Trey McBride is one of those guys that is honestly, I wouldn't say neck and neck with Brock Bowers, but I would say so closely beneath him that
He is
it
an
is,
absolute stud.
or I'd say closely beside him. Yeah, it is just, um, it's him and Brock Bowers. Those are the two tight ends that are basically star wide receivers on teams. And yeah, so Trey McBride, you want to buy in on him this season, just based off of his usage last season and how he produced. It's just, he's a great tight end. I don't know how else to say it.
Yeah, 100%. Me personally, I had him last season. He won me one of my leagues. He was always great throughout the season, but especially near the end, he looked unstoppable.
Yeah.
The number one target. And if we're looking at Brock Bowers and Trey McBride, the only real difference between them is Trey McBride is going a whole round later. So if you're looking for that top tight end, you can either get Brock Bowers in the second, or you can get Trey McBride in the third.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Trey McBride is, if you were to tell me which of the two is better, I'd say Brock, but only by a little bit. I think
Yeah.
Trey is pretty close.
I agree. And I think it will be interesting to watch, though. Okay. How Marvin may cut into Trey's workload, because if they use him as he should be used, it could be a little bit different than it was last year.
Yeah.
Okay. They really leaned on Trey McBride. And, the hope is that they'll lean on Marvin more so. But that's not to say that you should not be buying in on Trey. It's just a
Absolutely.
little caveat to say, like, some of his usage may be cut because of the superstardom that Marvin brings to the table.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
I think that's perfectly well said. Even then, you also have someone like James Conner within this backfield who is a great value. And I think he will be for the rest of his career until he shows otherwise. Because of his age, a lot of people are going to downplay him naturally going into every year. But last season was his best season as a pro. He was very consistent, pretty reliable, started to get some touchdowns.
Yeah.
This season should be around the same. But I guess
Mhm.
my only question would be, do you think Trey Benson takes a step forward this season? Do you think he might eat into James Conner's workload a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, that was the expectation last season, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be the same. I think he might eat into it a little bit more just because he's um more fond of the system going in, Trey Benson's going into his sophomore year. So he may be a little bit more comfortable. They may start working him in more. I think that's the expectation. So that he could eventually take over this backfield, just given Connor's age and injury history. But it's hard to count Connor out. I think that it could very well be Connor's backfield this whole season, man. I love that, man. He is so good. He's electric when you watch him play. So, um, yeah, and I think because Trey Benson is there and because of Connor's injury history, James Conner goes kind of a little bit lower in terms of what he could produce fantasy wise. Like if you hold
Yeah.
him up with honestly though, like you can hold him up to a I want to say Christian McCaffrey, bro. I think Christian's better. But like he's like a low end Christian McCaffrey, like a knockoff. Like he will do um he could be your RB1 really in a redraft.
Yeah. Like a low end RB1. He can
Definitely a
really.
low end RB1. And he's another guy that I would definitely hold on to Trey Benson if I had him just because of
Yeah.
that and that age and injury history. But yeah.
He does seem to get a little bit of an injury every year. Last season
Yeah.
he pretty much went the whole season last year without getting hurt until the end.
And that was one of the first seasons he didn't really get hurt.
Yeah.
So uh we will have to see this year if he does the same thing. But I guess he has until 2026 on his contract. They recently
Gave him a
signed
2-year
him for a
extension.
2-year. And so I don't know. And everything you hear about him too is like he's a leader in
Yeah.
on the team, and he just is like such a pinnacle um guy for the Cardinals. Like I think it's great that Trey Benson could learn behind him, and I think when Trey Benson steps up, you know, he's gonna be great too, just from being behind him. But
You
yeah,
won't find bigger fans of James Conner than us.
yeah, we like James
We're
Conner.
we're big James Conner guys. But hey, save it for the James Conner pod.
True.
Save it for the James Conner pod. But all right, this is the final team. We've gotten the other 31 out of the way, and it's finally talk about our boys, our guys, our team, the Seattle Seahawks.
Hey, come on now.
Oh man, we're gonna be so
C.
Hawk.
C.
Aw, dude, we're putting more energy into this than we should.
Hey man, dude.
This
I know, but
I have no idea
it
what
could
this
be
team is
good.
going to be this season.
It could be good though, and that's the thing. On
It
paper,
could be.
if everything goes absolutely spot on,
100% right, everything, which always happens in the
Super Bowl
NFL.
status.
Everything
Yeah,
always goes 100% right. Nothing ever goes wrong.
exactly.
I mean, of all these groups, what would you like to talk about first?
I mean, let's talk about the QB sitch, man. I think
Yeah.
it's a fun one. It's an interesting one, right? Two completely new QBs to Seattle.
with Geno Smith no longer around, he got traded off. He's with his best friend Pete Carroll in Las Vegas. We had signed Sam Darnold to a 3-year, $100 million deal, but from how the structure of the deal works out with all the guarantees, most of it's going to be in the first year. So realistically, it's more like a 1-year contract.
Yeah. Which is why they signed Jalen McMillan as that.
Who's that?
Jalen Milrow. My bad. So many Jalens, I feel like. But yeah, that's why they drafted him. And finally, the Seahawks drafted a QB, right? Like, it's been so long. No, that was a little delayed.
Don't worry, I'll keep going.
It's all good. But yeah, and Jalen's a really interesting prospect, right?
Yeah.
Got a high running capability, and a little bit of a rougher prospect, like not a guy that I can see just coming into the league and taking it by storm, but maybe someone that they, the coaches can work with and kind of polish up a little bit.
Very Cam Newton-like.
Yeah, definitely Cam Newton-like. I like that. But yeah, I mean that's the QB room, and it's just, I think it's gonna be so fun to watch because we didn't just get new QBs, bro, but we got a couple new wide receivers. One that we're gonna highlight here, especially. I don't know. Anything else on the QB room for you, Kyle?
Ooh, for me, I'm worried about Sam.
Yeah.
I think there's some fantasy. I don't think he's going to quite hit the highs he had in fantasy last season, where he had probably the best season he could have asked for with the Vikings outside of the ending, where he ended off as QB9. But the difference between the Vikings and us is offensive line. They have a very good offensive line. We have never had a good offensive line. And I know we made a move in the draft to address it a little bit. We've got Gray Zabel, which, my guy, I really like Gray Zabel. But last season, we were rated as the worst interior offensive line in the league. The front three guys, the guards and the center, terrible. We had one of the worst centers I've ever seen in my life. I've never seen a guy throw over the hands, over the body of Geno Smith so many times in a game. Even the announcers were like, never seen anything like this before.
Yeah.
It's very concerning. The only thing I like about Gray Zabel is that he can play apparently he can play any spot in the offensive line, which, if we only had 3 of them. With all that being said, I think that Sam Darnold is going to struggle a bit more than he did with the Vikings.
Yeah.
He'll have flashes. I think he's going to have games that are good. He'll have games that are bad. He'll have everything in between. But I think at the end of the day, we'll look at him and be like, he was fine.
Yeah. I hope that they cleaned the offensive lineup a little bit more. I know they didn't draft a center. They might have traded for one.
They tried to. Hopefully our tackles can stay healthy this year. They get injured every time.
But it is just intriguing based off of what Sam did last year. And I know, he could have been a product of the system, but still, given his new weapons that we can talk about, new to us, Cooper Kupp, and we can talk about Cooper Kupp first. I mean,
what a crazy, bizarre world we're living in,
dude! It all happened so fast. Trading Geno, getting Sam, picking up Cooper. It was like, I don't know. That was just so wild. But man, You can't not like Cooper Kupp. I feel like everybody likes that guy.
He seems like a very likable guy, likable personality.
Yes. And just so consistent. Such a such a great asset to really, I feel like, have on any team. And with him and now JSN um being the number one because DK got traded, um, it'll be interesting to see what type of roles they both fill. I know JSN's gonna try to be more of that outside guy, and Cup might be more slot,
Slot. He's always been
which is
slot.
what he's best at. So, that'll be nice. I hope JSN steps it up more on the outside. I wasn't I don't know. I just think I didn't really think that was his thing. So
Yeah.
I hope that he's gotten better at that. Um, this off season and just preparing for it. But then, we also drafted a
Tight end.
tight end, yeah, who has been
Yeah.
showing out in camp. I was gonna say uh another wide receiver in
Oh yeah, we
freaking
drafted
Torrey
Was it
Horton.
Horton?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Torrey Horton. And dude, like that guy, bro. He looks good. We have him and MVS, Marquise Valdez Scantling.
Hey, don't forget about Jake Bobo.
And yeah, Jake Bobo too,
Jake Bobo.
as like the um the guys that can kind of stretch down the field and fill in for more of that X receiver role, tall, more DK Metcalf-esque guys. So that'll be an interesting one to watch, just to
Yeah.
kind of see if anyone breaks out there. But um, Elijah Royale, though, yeah, has been producing, or not producing, but like showing out in camp.
Yeah, there's a lot of excitement right now um about Elijah Arroyo because we released Noah Fant, which makes sense considering when we drafted Elijah, the comp was Noah Fant.
Yeah,
So now that we have
kind
him
of
there,
funny.
I thought it was going to be a bit more of a battle. It seems from what we're hearing that it's Elijah Arroyo is going to become the main tight end of the passing game.
Yeah,
With AJ
potentially.
Barner, yeah, with AJ
I've
Barner
heard
kind of
a
being
little
on the
bit of
other
both.
side,
Mhm.
or he's definitely going to be more pass block dependent, I think.
I think so too. He's a great uh, pass blocking guy. So
But if I want to get my 2 cents in on the receivers real quick,
yeah,
because
yeah.
I remember hearing rumors that Cooper Kupp could be coming into Seattle, and my first thought was, why? Only because he's a slot guy,
Right.
and JSN was our slot guy.
Mhm.
So I thought, oh, it just doesn't make sense that both are coming in. But now they're both here. So JSN's probably going to move to the outside. Cooper Kupp's probably going to play a bit of slot. Even though I've seen him on outside a little bit before. With Cooper Kupp, I'm curious to see what happens because last season with the Rams, his production completely deflated. And it felt like going into the later ends of the year, the team was just taking him out of the offense completely. And the more you read into it, it seemed like there might have been a falling out between him and the team, some sort of deterioration of the relationship. So seeing him here now, I want to see his play of, okay, how much of it was just talk and phasing him out of the offense, or how much of it was actually like, does this guy
Mhm.
still have it?
Yeah.
And with Jackson Smith and Jigba, I have a lot of thoughts, but if I can keep them condensed a little bit, I think he benefited greatly off of DK last season. I think near the second half of the year, we changed up our game plan and made
Mm.
DK Metcalf more of a decoy.
Yeah.
And he was the one getting double coverage, going down the field, and it left Jackson Smith and Jigba in a lot of single coverage, and he was open. And he absolutely dominated in the second half of the season,
Mhm.
becoming one of the best wide receivers in the league by the end. But DK is not there anymore. Cooper Kupp replaced him, but I don't think he's necessarily going to be the type of guy to take all that coverage away. So now I'm optimistic, but also hesitant on, can Jackson Smith and Jigba do it again now that he's the number one guy? Now that he's the one probably going to be looking at to get double covered first.
True, but then you could say the same thing about Cooper Kupp. Like, is his season gonna pop off because JSN is taking that coverage? Like, it's it's kind of a similar comparison. There's usually one guy that has that more double coverage type, and JSN could be that guy, and Cooper Kupp could benefit, or one of the tight ends or rookies that we have. So
yeah,
or not rookies, but potential X guys.
Maybe that's why I like Elijah
Sure.
Royal a lot. To possibly be that on the sideline sort of X receiver. They said with the new offensive coordinator in Clint Kubiak that they want to look at him as a hybrid wide receiver tight end. So maybe that's why I really like him as a possible sleeper going into this season.
Yeah, I agree. And hey, speaking of Clint Kubiak, bro, if we want to talk about the running backs,
we're going back to basics. We're going back to the run game.
Dude, exactly. But dude, Clint Kubiak, if we want to talk about Kenneth Walker for a second, I'm excited because, man, Clint Kubiak was on the Saints, and he worked a lot with Alvin Kamara, who was such a great outside runner, and that was what they focused on. Well, Kenneth Walker has some of the best, last season and seasons previous, has is one of the best outside running backs there is in the league. And so in terms of like yards per carry and just tackle breakage. So I've heard we're going to be seeing more of that out of him, and more down the middle style running from goal line work from Zach Charbonnet. So I'm pretty excited to see that back and forth, that running back duo, because I think it will be a duo. I think they'll probably split it more than we think, especially with Kenneth's history of injuries with like high usage. So I don't know. What do you think about all that?
Here's the thing. I've always been a big fan of Kenneth Walker. I think he is underratedly one of the most talented running backs in the league.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want any proof of that, just watch him play. I have never seen a man work so hard and give so much effort to get a 3-yard gain.
Yeah.
It's like the offensive line has always been a problem for years in terms of like giving him space and creating holes for him. So there were games last season where that throughout his career essentially where it kept biting him in the back. Like I think if Kenneth Walker were on, say, the Eagles behind that offensive line, he'd be unstoppable. But I can't talk about Kenneth Walker and be excited without thinking about his injury history. This is a guy that gets multiple injuries per season.
Yeah.
He's always out a significant amount of time. It feels hard to trust him. And this has been a problem with the Seahawks beyond Kenneth Walker. This has been a problem with our starting running backs for about a decade now. We can't ever find someone in the run game to stay healthy.
Mm-hmm.
And even right now, he's dealing with an injury. He has a foot injury right now that's keeping him out of practice.
Yeah.
So it's we're getting to a point now where it's like it's going to be hard to want to invest in him long term. This is the final year of his deal.
Yeah.
If he keeps getting hurt. But maybe that's why I like Zach Charbonnet so much right now. Because he's looking better every year that we see him play.
Mm-hmm.
He's entering his third season now, and I think the opportunity is open for him to, if he's given the opportunity, take it, run with it. We talk about handcuffs. Technically, he might be the best handcuff in the league because you can guarantee he'll play a few games.
Yeah. Yeah. Dude, I agree. It is one of those things you got to look out for, man. Running back injuries are so real, okay? And you hate it because you wish that your running backs could always be healthy,
always there.
but that is not the case. So I completely agree. And dude, this is why I traded in a dynasty league recently. I had Kenneth Walker and James Conner, who we talked about earlier in the episode. And dude, I traded both of them. Okay, this is a dynasty league for a first and a second. Pretty much that was pretty much it, straight up. There were like a couple. There was like a third and a fourth rounder that we swapped.
And that's bold.
Anyways,
that's bold to give up
it is
two starting running back.
Dude, it is bold, and it's more of a rebuilding type of scenario because my team's kind of doing that, needing to do that. But when you see like, dude, I've had them on my team for a little while now. Okay. And it's just so hard to watch when your RBs get out constantly for injuries. And it's like, okay, so what am I supposed to do here? Am I just gonna like keep taking this every year, or am I gonna do something about it? Okay.
Yeah.
And you kind of start to see that. So I don't know. I feel like that with Kenneth Walker, and I'm not completely out. Okay.
I think you need to draft both. Good.
Yeah. I agree.
If you're drafting Kenneth Walker, you either have to make a note to draft another starting running back right away, or draft Zach Charbonnet when you get the chance. You kind of don't have an option because that's how often he gets injured.
That's exactly it, bro. Yeah. And you just got to be weary of that. You have to, think ahead and say, like, what if this happens, And a lot of times that's how guys get ahead in fantasy. You have to predict. And with a lot of these guys, you can, if it's proven. And it's proven with Kenneth. So
I mean, anyway, any final thoughts on how you think this team's going to do this season?
Dude, my heart says Super Bowl, bro. Okay.
That's the heart of every NFL fan.
My heart says with this new scheme, but honestly, dude, I've never felt like this type of way. I think I wouldn't say Super Bowl, but I'd say I'm just so ever intrigued to see how this team will work.
Yeah. It's such an odd mix-up.
It's so interesting and so different from what we've had before. So, I don't know, man. I'm just so excited for this season.
I'm excited. I'm excited for football. I'm excited to watch my favorite team.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go into this like, every game I'm gonna be like just clutching a pillow. Just like, because I mean, I don't have super high hopes yet. I have to see what it looks like first. I want to be optimistic. I really want to be optimistic, but I'm just gonna be a little hesitant here because that's just kind of how I play it with the Seahawks.
Fair enough.
But with that out of the way, we did it. Woo. Oh, nice. We have finally finished after all this time. We are finally done talking about all of the teams, all the players we wanted to go over. It is all finished.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun, and honestly, it's made me more excited for the season overall.
Yeah.
And the the episodes that we can now get into. I'm excited to talk about a whole bunch of things, you know. We're gonna get more on a consistent schedule of posting 2 times a week is what we're going for.
For right now, it's going to be 2 times a week. Expect the videos, at least for this first month, to be focusing on what we've seen in the preseason, as well as fun little ideas that we have to break down certain people or have certain topics that we want to cover. So things are looking up.
Yeah, definitely. It's gonna be a fun time,
Yeah.
but at the very least, you know, it's fun for us. Um,
But don't expect us to do 8 videos in 8 days again.
oh yeah, we'll
Yeah.
probably never do that, especially with the amount of time that these videos have taken, almost an hour long each.
Absolutely.
But hey, for anyone that stayed to the end, just you know, thanks for listening. I hope that you've enjoyed our conversations and just watch out for our other content. I think as we keep going with this whole podcast, you know, each episode we're just trying to get more and more fun and bring kind of a different look than other people on you know, doing this type of fantasy coverage. So
Yeah.
I don't it'll be good. Keep
It'll
tuning
be
in.
fun to do. And we're going to continue to find what works for us. We're going to continue to improve and put out the best quality videos that we can.
Yeah, man.
But until then, I would like to say thank you so much for listening. And the next time you'll hear us is after preseason week 1, where we get to talk about all the stuff that happens during that time.
Yeah.
All right.
And honestly, stay simple.
Stay simple. Hey, stay simple. In a complex world, stay simple.
Yep.
Good night. Oh, I'm so tired.
He's fat!
What?